So just looking now at the risk assessment matrix, so there are a decent amount of potential risks that we could see at the track. Security issues. I mean, obviously, security. They seem to do an okay job and care somewhat about their job. With a lot of older people, which I will say helps over just having like college age kids like myself being security that are going to be on their phones and not caring and wanting to let their friends into restricted areas and whatnot. Security issues. I'm sure there were some. I'm sure there was somebody that got into the infield who shouldn't have been there. I'm sure there was somebody who didn't have a ticket who got in, or something got in a bag. Because NASCAR doesn't have a lot of tracks a clear bag policy, and they also allow alcohol in as well. So you can bring a soft-sided or even a hard-sided. You can bring in whatever cooler you want as long as it's not a full-size, Yeti cooler. Some sort of portable cooler, whether that's a backpack cooler, a soft-sided handheld cooler, or a hard-shelled handheld cooler. You can bring with beer, and it's not common. I've seen people cracking beers as they're climbing in their car to leave races before. Like people drink in the parking lot after the race on their way to the. It's kind of crazy. It's fun, I'm sure, but just with all these people bringing in beer and all these 2 feet tall by 18-inch by 12-inch coolers and things that people are bringing in. I'm sure contraband is getting in. I smelled weed at the race one time early on, and like I don't care about that, but it's not legal here in Indiana, and I'm sure against track policy. People are smoking gas station cigars. People are smoking cigarettes. The guy in front of me probably smoked half a pack in the 4 hours I was sitting behind him. So I'm sure there was contraband that got in, like the weed that I smelled. They don't allow hard alcohol, but I'm sure somebody got shooters in. Security issues can be bad. I mean, if somebody snuck a knife in, there could be a stabbing. They could throw something on the track and it comes up and ends up back in the grandstands if a truck hits the right way and flings it back off of the racing surface. Or someone cuts a tire and hits the wall if someone threw a knife or a big nail on the track or something. Same with the alcohol too. I mean, the likelihood that there's going to be somebody there who's going to get too drunk and too loud and say something or start a fight is pretty high, and the severity can be high too. Someone gets too drunk and starts a fight. Someone might get knocked out, hit their head, and get a concussion and bleed out and die. You just don't know what's going to happen. But alcohol and racing don't always mix all the time. That kind of ties into the no bag policy as well. I mean, there is a bag policy. You can't bring in a huge bit. They have size restrictions, but they don't have the clear bag only policy that most other venues have. It's kind of tough to have a clear cooler with sunlight hitting it when you're trying to keep beer cold at the tracks that allow you to bring beer in. Burnouts, these can be risky. I mean, they're extremely high. Every winner does one pretty much. It's only a handful of times I've ever seen in 20 years of watching NASCAR that someone has not done a burnout. The severity of something happened, though, is low. One thing I can think of a burnout is maybe a tire blowing out and the pieces coming back into the stands, or a lug nut shearing off of the wheel and ending up in the stands, or the truck catching fire, which I have seen that a couple times. The cars will catch fire doing burnouts. Very low severity, honestly, of anything happening, though. It might just be a little bit of rubber to the face. Rubber and small parts coming off vehicles. This happens all the time. I get pelted every time I go to a race, especially on restarts when all the trucks are bunched up and they put down speedy dry if a truck drops oil that causes a caution. When they restart, the trucks run through it or something like that. I've been pelted so many times. I've left tracks and gotten home, and my face and hands are just covered in little rubber pellets, and you got to shower to get them off, and your hair just feels terrible because there's so many little specks of stuff in there. But again, nothing bad's ever going to happen. There's a very, very low chance that a lug nut comes off and ends up in the stands. It's happened before, but usually if a lug nut comes off, which is only a handful of times a season, it'll just roll around on the track. Vehicles ending up in the catch fence. At this track, basically non-existent. I would never say never. If a truck gets hit a certain way, it could always end up in the catch fence. At a track like Daytona or Talladega, that's a lot quicker, or like a Michigan type of track. If you know what any of those, if what the layout and the speeds of the vehicles are there, where they can go 200, 205 miles an hour. The vehicles end up in the catch fence a few times a decade. At a track like IRP, it's once in a blue moon. If a vehicle ends up in the catch fence, that usually means the catch fence fails somewhat, and it usually gets ripped open, and there's always a couple of injuries from people either getting burnt by like scalding hot car parts or just debris from the wreck. But again, extremely low to happen at IRP. If there was a prop bet for it, I would put my money on it never ever happening at that track, but I would never say never. And then finally, the last thing is temporary hearing issues. Sometimes these hearing issues can become permanent. I have heard about people going deaf at NASCAR events and other racing events as well, and it never coming back, but that's super rare. My hearing did not come back until Sunday morning after the Friday night event, and then I went to a different NASCAR race on Sunday, and my hearing did not come back till yesterday, meaning Tuesday. So it's usually about a 36 to 48 hour recovery time before your hearing is back to normal and everything kind of you hear is a little fuzzy. And you kind of have to constantly ask people to speak up and turn the TV volume up to 100 when it's normally at 50, just because of how loud the engines are. The severity is very low chance that you end up with permanent hearing loss after an event at a track like this. Just looking at some risk mitigation strategies now. I mean, they could bring in more security. I mean, the track wasn't hurting for money. I paid $42.50 for my ticket before any fees or taxes, so it was closer to 50. For what they do, for the amount of upkeep they have to perform on that track, they could easily pay another. They could double the amount of security there and pay everybody an extra $15 an hour for 4 hours, 5 hours. It's not difficult. I just feel like the track probably hasn't had any problems with security or very many, and they don't feel like they need to, but I definitely see a need for security improvement there just to feel more safe and secure. Regarding the lack of alcohol control, that NASCAR could limit the amount of alcohol someone brings in. I could see them going down to like a 4 beer per person policy. Obviously, it's not going to stop people drinking before. It's not going to stop people keeping beer in their car or truck and drinking after the race before they leave the parking lot. But just during the race, they could police it. They're just not going to. I think that would piss a lot of people off. I've seen people drink 10 to 12 in a 3-hour race before. I can't imagine, someone drinking their 4 in the first, quarter of the race and then going sober for the rest of it. Would not be fun. The no bag policy, I mean, again, they could have a clear bag policy or they could not allow coolers in, but people complain much more about the tracks that don't allow coolers and beer in, outside beer in, than they do about the ones who do, and they, compliment them for that. So I don't think that's going to go anywhere. Burnouts are never going to leave NASCAR. They're never going to be able to stop rubber and small parts coming off the vehicles, dirt in the corners and things. Vehicles ending up in the catch fence again, unless you slow the vehicles down, that's not going to ever, the risk is never going to go away, but it's never going to be super high at a track like this. And then temporary hearing issues. I mean, I didn't wear hearing protection. I never see a need to. Nothing's ever loud enough to where you need to, so I could have probably had my hearing back a lot sooner if I had worn earmuffs or hearing, earplugs, but I didn't. I don't care. Nothing here is too risky. I mean, it was a fun event. I never felt unsafe at all, or grossed out by anything or threatened. So, I think they did a pretty good job of mitigating the risks that they did have, although few, and most of them not being, having a high chance to happen or high severity. Took a video of the burnouts as we kind of talked about the burnouts before. This is from the second race, the truck race. I think you can see where, maybe if a tire explodes, pieces could come off into the stands, but I mean, very low chance of it happening, and a tire really doesn't hurt. I mean, I've been hit by parts of an exploding tire before, and it's fine. It's like someone throwing a piece of cardboard at you. It's not bad at all. So, yeah, that's all I've got for this presentation. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.